are you waiting for? You know what I mean? If you're dreaming it, you can visualize it, you can have it. The problem is, who do you ask to get it? All right, that's the question. Okay, well, I'll sit there and say, oh, I dream $1 million. But what are you going to do to get that $1 million? What are you going to sacrifice to get it? Put a date on it. Put a date on the stuff you're doing and talk about what you're going to do to achieve that and live that dream.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the podcast, The Thought Leader Revolution. I'm your host, Nikki Ballou. And boy, do we have an exciting guest lined up for you today. Today's guest is a repeat guest. This is the man, the visionary behind the creative and business force that is the Magnetic Entrepreneur Empire. He is the founder of Magnetic Entrepreneur Publishing, as well as the brand new Magnetic FM Radio. I am speaking, of course, of none other than the one, the only, the legendary Robert J. Moore. Welcome to the show, Robert.
Hey, how are you, brother?
And I'm awesome. Great to have you on the show, man.
It's awesome to be here once again,
Awesome. So, Robert, you've been on the show, and a lot of our listeners are longtime listeners, so they'll know who you are, they'll know your story, but we've got a bunch of new listeners, and they don't know you. So, man, tell us your story. How'd you get to be here?
Well, it's a simple process, but a long one in the way, but I'll keep it short. I was a drug addict, alcoholic while growing up because I didn't feel like I fit in where I was. So when I drank, I felt like I was invincible and started feeling like it was a part of something. And then I connected with the wrong people, I guess, hung around the wrong people, got influenced by the wrong people, and ended up doing 16 years in jail. When I was doing those 16 years out of jail, I was also living on the streets for 7 years. And I don't mean living on someone's couch. I mean, living on the streets, putting snow over top you to keep warm for thermal, and just keep going from there. I was breaking into apartment buildings just to go to get their laundry, right? And it didn't matter if it fit. It was warm, so you put it on anyways. And then you just cover yourself up, and it kept you warm all night. And then the next day I'd wake up, go right across the road to the beer store, liquor store, whatever it was. Finally, it was like I had an epiphany. I wanted to become something. I was tired of being that loser, Robert. Back then it was Rob Moore. That's why I go by Robert J. Moore today, because it's a new improved, right? So I love the name change. I love the atmosphere of it all. Then I went from there. I ended up going to detox. They asked me the same question. Why now? Why do you want to do this now? I said, because I'm tired of living the way I am. And they said, but we heard this already. We've seen you do this 400 or 500 times in the last year. And I said, well, give me the chance. Give me a chance. I want to go to detox. So they made the arrangement. They did everything together, and they got me in detox. Lo and behold, today, I'm 16 years clean, sober plus. I've got a social service worker diploma, my addictions degree, my BA in psychology, master's in counseling psychology, harm reduction, mental health crisis, 2 honorary doctorate degrees, Guinness World Records, and numerous awards.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. For a man who's been, at the very bottom, at the lowest of lows, to come and be at the highest of highs is pretty amazing, man. And, there's folks that are listening to this that are probably thinking to themselves, wow, I wonder if I could go from where I am today, which is the lowest of low for me, and do what Robert did. What would you tell them?
What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? You know what I mean? If you're dreaming it, you can visualize it, you can have it. The problem is, who do you ask to get it? All right, that's the question. Okay, well, I'll sit there and say, oh, I dream $1 million. But what are you going to do to get that $1 million? What are you going to sacrifice to get it? You know what I mean? It's like Napoleon Hill, Chapter 2. They talk about, put a date on it. Put a date on the stuff you're doing and talk about what you're going to do to achieve that and live that dream, go and buy it. I don't care how many, listen, I went my very, very, very first event. I invited 300 people. I had food for 300 people. But I'm going to tell you, 4 people showed up. 4. So what did I do? I packed up the chairs. I put a bunch of them on the side because the acoustics in the room would echo. If you don't have the chairs piled up on each other around, put their coats there, the food there, whatever you got to do. I had the camera right beside those 4 people, like right there behind them. And the next thing I know, I sat there and made sure the camera stayed there to make it look like I had a full room. So I was sitting there talking on my right-hand side over to a guy in the red shirt that wasn't there. And it made it look good because there was no echo in the room because the food was all over the place on the chairs and the acoustics was great. and the 4 people were sitting right in front of the camera. So I kept looking at them, looking around the room, but I made it look like there was 1,000 people in the room. The next event I did, 25 people showed up. One after that, 200 people showed up, and now I could pack a room.
I love it, man. I love it. And you know, you and we're going to be doing an event together in the new year, right? We're going to pack a room.
True.
It's going to be.
Hey, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, man. We're going to give people so much value that when they leave, they're not going to be able to drive because people are going to think they're drunk.
Absolutely. But we're going to tease people with that. We're not ready to talk about it too much yet.
Not yet.
Next time we get together, we'll talk about it some more. But Robert, talk to me about this publishing company that you created, because it is one of the premier publishing imprints out there right now.
Yeah, it's one of the top 30 in North America right now. One of the top 30 in North America. I started off very, very low. I didn't know what I was doing, so I started hiring different people. And one of the people I hired was Kyle Wilson. He's Jim Rohn's ex-business partner. He's a big-time publisher. He's a man behind Jim Rohn's, big-time, success. So I kind of learned from him, picked his brain, and a few other people, I picked their brain, and I wanted to make it big, but I didn't know how. So it cost money to do it. So I didn't have any money at the time. So it was almost like God put me there, because I hired Les Brown, and he wanted like $50,000 at the time. And it was weird because on my credit card, they only charged me $97 a month. Okay, I'll take that. I'm not going to say nothing. I'll just take it. Eric Thomas, same thing. A few other people. I found the loophole somehow. God gave me somehow, made it work for me. But see, if you want something bad enough, the way I see it, if you put your head underwater, and you want something there, right? Obviously, you want the air, right? So you're dying for that air. If you want that air bad as your dream to come true, put your dreams from your head to your heart. I call it the 18-inch rule. Put the emotion behind them, and you'll make it.
The 18-inch rule. I like it. The 18-inch rule. It's beautiful. So your publishing company has published how many books so far?
Today I'm going on 110 books.
Wow.
110 books.
That's incredible.
And that's since 2017.
That's incredible.
Last year, my editor, because she works for another company too at the same time doing publishing and that, she did 70 books. And that's editing, formatting, and that's for me. So I know I'm getting bigger and bigger. So I'm hiring a bunch of staff at the same time. I got them all on the side. And the reason why I say I'm getting bigger is because I've already been in contact with Ingram, and that they want me to partner up with them, which I have. I partner up with them, and there's not many people that can actually say that brought their publishing company up to a figure where Ingram really wants to work with them. And now all my books go through Ingram, which is one of the big, for those who don't know what it is, Ingram happens to be one of the biggest distribution centers in the world. All books have to go through them in order to be distributed.
Yeah, they're huge, man. One of the I just wrote a book with Wayne Allen Root, and it's being done through Ingram. I mean, Wayne is the main author on that. I'm the secondary author. It was my idea, but he's got the bigger name inside this area. So we put his name on the book as the primary author and me as the secondary author. But it's been a great experience working with a top-notch company like Ingram, man. So kudos to you. So you've got 110 books that you've published, and then all of a sudden you decided, hey, I need to make a foray into radio. So talk about that for a bit.
That was kind of something that got dropped in my lap. I kind of like it because I'm always looking at something that's going to challenge me. I see all these people doing podcasts. They're all this big thing talking about, let's get on TV because it's visual.
Yeah.
Well, I drive a lot and I go around a lot. I mean, as most people do, and they just hear audiobooks and stuff like that. Well, we're obviously listening to the radio, and all radio is being transferred into iHeart Radio. All of it will be in the future. There's no more digital stuff going to be happening like that. So I'm looking at I want to think for the future. So I said to myself, I have a buddy of mine that actually owns a radio station. So I said, listen, let's talk a little bit. And let's see what I can do to open my own radio station. So he said, think of a name. I said, well, it's got to be magnetic. It's got to be underneath the umbrella. So magnetic FM radio stood. And you know what? I got people coming in like crazy doing commercials. I got people coming in doing their podcasts, 26-minute podcasts or 56-minute podcasts. Or I got people sitting there saying, listen, how do I take part? Or maybe they just want to say, put a shout out to somebody for Merry Christmas. Or maybe they want to do something, say their name on there, say like, hey, I'm Robert J. Moore, and you're listening to Magnetic FM Radio. Maybe they just want to do something like that. So, I mean, I allow that stuff to happen. I want people to be heard. I want people to say, hey, listen, did you hear me?
Yeah, man, that's fantastic. So,
and one thing I do want to say is it's not just local. I'm global with this because I'm going through the app. I'm global, literally global. You could be in Japan and hear it.
So talk a little bit about what's different about this type of radio station versus a traditional radio station.
Well, traditional radio station, 9 times out of 10, they're basically just local, right? If they're just local, really what's going to be happening is nobody in Japan or nobody in Florida or nobody around here or there can hear it. So basically, if you got this type of radio station right now is what we're speaking about, is it makes a big difference because I'm going to tell you right now why. I'm just pulling up the portfolio of it and then allowing it to be here. Because first of all, iHeartRadio, it's in 250 different applications that you could use. At the same time, FM radio is a rock and podcast-based radio station. So I do a lot of rock on there too and everything. Like people keep it going and in between station identifications and all that stuff. So based on the radio station, it's globally through either website. I got my website set up, or streamable on radio or any smart radio. So smart radio, for those who don't know, is like Bluetooth.
Okay.
So all the newer cars have that. So that, as you see, that's moving into the right scene, right? So also it could be streaming now. Our iHeartRadio is an app and it's very selectable. So if you want to say FM radio, magnetic FM radio, you just go in, I want FM radio, right? Or if you want 97.7, well, in the future, you're not going to be able to dial into that. All you got to do is press in, I want 97, blah, 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 whatever you want.
That's pretty darn amazing, man.
The things they're coming
possible.
up with, I mean, you got to keep up with times. And how many people do you know that are actually going into the radio?
Nobody other than you. Honestly,
I like going outside the box. I got to go outside the box.
So talk to me about what this makes possible for people. Why should people consider radio? Like, I'm big on podcasting, right? So I tell everybody you should have a podcast. Why should people do radio?
The reason why, I'll tell you something. Radio, a lot of people travel. A lot of people go on airplanes. A lot of people are on the ground traveling, doing their stuff that they need to do in between work. The thing is, radio it can reach a lot of different places that TV can't. TV can actually, you have to sit down visually, listen to that, and watch at the same time. All you need is auditory for the other one. For radio, it's auditory. You don't have to really be anywhere stationary to listen to it. You can actually listen to it on your jog, listen to it in the airplane. It's more able access to get to.
So you can do radio everywhere. I agree. That's one of the reasons I like podcasting, because of the audiophonic possibilities of podcasting, right? But in your opinion, why should somebody right now who's listening to this show, come and do a segment on your radio station? Why do you think it makes a difference for them?
Well, the thing is, a lot of people do podcasts. They don't have the aim or the reach. Well, the thing is, I built up an audience already of over 6 million people. If you have over 6 million people, you're good. But the thing is, when you come on to a radio station like mine, now you're reaching new people. And these new people are talking about, hey, listen, I'm just on the radio. Check this out or check that out. And then all of a sudden they want to check out the different times these people are on. So I got a plethora of people coming on, talking about their different podcasts, talking about their different commercials, talking about their different stuff. Some of them are on there just being funny. You know what I mean? Just having funny hour, which is great as long as there's no swearing, no discriminative, and no nothing like that that's going to put anybody behind. I want none of that stuff on there, or I cut their contract right up and let them go right away. and they get the ratings. They get some nice ratings. It helps the radio station out with ratings, which helps boost them out. And at the end of the year, the person that does one of the best ratings, I end up giving them an award.
God bless you, Robert J. Moore, for what you do and for all the amazing people you help. So look, if someone's interested in, having a show on your radio, how do they go about making that happen?
Well, they contact me first. I want to see what their idea is about. And maybe I can help them twist a few things around and make it look a little better for them, make it sound better for them, help them out with their vision a little better, right, if you will. So they can actually get a hold of me at Magnetic Publishing 2017 at gmail.com, or they can go on Facebook, Magnetic FM Radio, or they can go Robert J. Moore. And I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on, basically I use LinkedIn, and I also use Facebook or the email. That's one of the biggest ones I use. The rest of them, I don't really use too much because, I just don't get enough feedback on those ones.
Okay. So we're going to put that information in the show notes. People getting good hold of you. I'm excited about your station. I mean, I do my podcast, but I'm interested in reaching some new audiences. So I'm definitely going to come and do a couple segments on your radio program because I think it's going to make sense. I think it's going to make sense for the event you and I are doing together. So we'll definitely do it for that.
Sure.
I also have a couple of other things that I want to do. I've got a program for men and a podcast for men. I think it makes sense to reach some men who don't know who we are in that fashion. And I think it'll be a lot of fun to do it for some other programs that I'm involved in and some other projects. So I'm going to make sure we put all that information in the show notes so that we can do that. So, Robert, we end off every episode the same way. We ask you as the guest expert, what are your top 3 expert action steps? These are your best 3 pieces of advice that you recommend my listener take on to take their business or their life to the next level. So what do you say?
Well, the one is stop trying to do it yourself. Stop trying to do it yourself. If you're sitting there trying to do it yourself, you're going to be in the same situation or in worse situation as you were the day before or the year before. Another one is stop focusing on that money you can make on doing. Oh, this is such a good idea. I can make so much money. Well, you're going to go broke because you're going to spend so much money trying to get it out there to do it. If you focus on, I'm telling you right now, if you actually focus on your passion in that field that you're going for, that money will follow. And I'm living proof of that. I'm living proof, and so is other people out there. You know what? Stop trying to chase that money. And you know what? Stop trying to tell people what to do. All right? Too many people are trying to tell people what to do instead of giving them passionate advice. You want to give someone advice? Show them there's a solution to the problem. That's all you got to do. A solution to the problem will bring people to you.
This is good stuff, man. This is really, really good stuff. And I really wholeheartedly agree with stop trying to do it alone, because so many people try to do it alone. In fact, I have this thing that I've been doing for years. I say, hashtag don't do it alone. Hashtag don't do it alone. And, I had this vision, Robert, last year that came to me, when all this pandemic crazy stuff was going on. And the vision was this: we need to strengthen our world. We need to strengthen the people. And the only way we can do that is if more people become rich. More people don't have to worry about money anymore. So I have a vision, and I call it hashtag billion millionaires. I want to be a part of a movement that creates 1 billion millionaires. That means 1 out of every 7 human beings is a millionaire. If we do that, first of all, the free enterprise system is going to be strengthened. Second of all, we're going to be stronger and more powerful than ever, right? And thirdly, people are going to start to believe. And they're going to have hope. They're going to have faith that they can make it happen. So to me, what you're saying makes a ton of sense, because we got to give people hope. We got to give people the belief that they can win, that they can be the one that gets things done. And that's not going to happen unless men like you and I, and good women out there also, step forward and say, hey, don't do it alone. We're here to lend a helping hand. And if we all lend a helping hand to one another, we can make 1 billion people on this planet millionaires, and that'll change the world forever.
Even I want people to realize so many people are focused on the money. They're so focused on freedom. All right. What freedom is to me, I'm going to be honest with you, is freedom from those bills. It don't matter if I'm broke. Freedom from those bills. If I don't have to pay no more bill a month, I'm freedom. And how do I go about doing that? I make enough money to pay all my bills off for a year. I put it in there and so say the hydro, I'll put $1,000 in there. That's obviously good for 8 to 10 months. You know what I mean? And then the gas bill, whatever bills you have, the exact same thing. Put enough in there to cover yourself for 8 to 9 months so you could build that money up. You could build that stuff up to buy that new car you want or whatever it may be. But having the bills paid, that's a freedom right there on its own because you don't stress yourself out. Now you can work. So I pay my mortgage and everything off every year.
Good man. Good man. Well done. Well done. Love it. So, man, Robert, thanks again for being on the show, man. And it's an honor to be your friend. It's an honor to do this work with you. And it's an honor to collaborate together to go help make a bunch more people millionaires. Because this next year, I'd say let's make at least 50 new millionaires between the two of us. I think that'd be fun.
Hey, we could. I know we could do it. There's no guarantee we could do it. I guarantee if the people are willing to do the work, and I'm talking about do the work internally and externally on themselves. Don't sit there and follow someone if you can't do the work. Because you know what? If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Amen.
I'll tell you that right now. My overnight success took 15 years. And I'm telling people that my overnight success took 15 years because I didn't want to listen to anybody else. I was stubborn. I probably could have done it in 1.5 to 2 years, but I didn't want to listen to anybody. It wasn't until I actually collaborated with other people and started learning how they did it. That's how I became the person I am today.
Amen, my brother. Amen, my brother. And that wraps up another exciting episode of the podcast, The Thought Leader Revolution. To find out more about today's incredible guest, the one and only Robert J. Moore, go to the show notes at thethoughtleaderrevolution.com or check out the show notes wherever you listen to this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Audible, or Spotify. Until next time, goodbye.
This episode has been brought to you by eCircleAcademy.com, the proven system to add 6 to 7 figures a year to your thought leader practice.